Bring the trustees to order Wednesday, November 6th. Municipal building at 6 p.m. Join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got any changes or additions? Carole on that?
Yep, I'd like to talk about the pricing of some of the stuff, the bucket trucks and stuff, when we go out and do work. The equipment.
Okay, it's we'll just stick that at the end.
Yep.
Look for a motion to approve the minutes from the trustee meeting October 9th, 2024, and Jordan joint meeting October 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm sorry.
Well, I thought you were gonna take over.
Oh, yeah, if you want to, yeah,
Well, it's up to you.
the other way. So we had. Okay, treasury report,
Budget status report, and I have one documents from the UB Bank. For the new,
Any signature?
yes, 14,
Of course, interest for the bucket truck.
yes,
Yeah, I make a motion, share signs.
well, it needs the whole
It needs the
board,
whole board. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
I tried. Not to hook whatever I can.
For 119,000 for 10 years. At 5.89%.
We can refinance later.
Yep, there's no penalty fees for
Yeah.
that. If the rates go down, yeah.
All right. Make a motion, we sign the loan documents for the bucket truck for 119,000.
For a second,
Second.
any questions?
any date on when it's gonna be delivered?
You're reading ahead of my village manager report.
Oh,
It's
it's coming.
and then in the next week or two.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Anything else? With treasury?
Okay, on the budget status report, we have received the state pilot money.
Oh, really?
It was about $4,000 less than what we knew it was coming, so we added the extra when we did it tax rate. And we have received the grant money for Carole Bruce's Jubilee thing in the amount of $3,500.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll get insurance out of that, right? And then whatever's left, she'll present receipts for it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Any surprises?
Nothing's like-
Any concerning?
Nothing surprises for you, Mary.
The electric partner, it's my only concern.
Where are we sitting with that?
Depends when the rate increase comes to effect.
How much we lose on?
Several $1,000s.
Tens of thousands or so.
Several.
Okay.
Easier in the summertime because our power bills go down, but once they start coming back up.
Any questions?
Manager report, please.
There it is. All right. Let's, Steve already asked, boom, truck replacement update. I'll take was almost finished prepping the truck and predicts delivery in 1 to 2 weeks. The water and light garage project update. Phase 1 ESA finished with a finding of no action necessary to proceed. The contract with the AES has been executed and signed, and design has started. They sent out a first draft of their concept, which Nate and I provided some edits on. We had a walkthrough with several of their engineers on October 30th to discuss options and for them to see the conditions on the ground. Additionally, the final CDS, which is the $824,000 grant from Congressman Welch, funding application has been submitted to get the money on deck and ready to reimburse the invoices as they come in. Project's forging ahead quickly with expected finish in the 2025 construction season. The village crew is wrapping up many projects in preparation for winter. Jeff has scheduled a CDL written exam for the 13th this month to obtain his learner's permit and is actively studying in preparation. Matt Champney is going to finish his 6 months probation in a matter of days and has been an outstanding addition to the team. His NEPPA schooling cycle begins in January. Nate and I will be at the Green Mountain Water Environment Association fall meeting tomorrow in Burlington, attending relevant classes towards our ongoing training requirements to maintain both our water and my wastewater operators licenses. FEMA update. Finally, DR 4720, the declared disaster for the July 2023 floods, has been approved for 90% FEMA reimbursement. This is retroactive and puts the Village of Johnson share of payment at only 2.2%, since the Vermont legislature approved covering 7.8% of the non-federal funded portion. This has been coming a long time, but most of us didn't trust it until it was officially declared. This means that the WWTF rebuild costs $14 million. The village will only be on the hook for $308,000. Johnson Municipal Plan. The second public hearing of the Johnson Municipal Plan for the village will be at the beginning of our regular trustees meeting on December 9th at 6 p.m. Good, Vinny.
Yeah, so in the past, we've done a employee review at 6 months. Is that something you're doing?
That's something Nate's doing, I'm reviewing.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Before it was the board, so I just want to make sure it's being done. Water, wastewater?
I was hoping. Yeah. Chief will be here before the fire department. So here, you don't report. The operational status of wastewater plant callouts, EDMR and WR 43 were submitted to the state of 60,000 gallons of sludge Morrisville for processing for the month of October. Operational status of the water plant and callouts. The monthly reports were submitted to the state. Coliform samples were negative. Rotated the pumps at Katie Wynn Pump House number 2. Spent most spare time at Katie Wynn. Sleeved and rerouted all the water lines. Relocated meters to the meter bank along the wall. Shoveled and tamped sand into the pump houses. Raised the floor level. Prepped the floor. Poured the concrete floors with floor drains in both pump houses. Installed some new rafters, replaced rotted ones, installed and insulated a new lower ceiling in pump house 1, installed check valves in all the meters. There were a few finishing touches to put on both meter houses. We were waiting for Pratt Smith Electric to install the new heater and lighting in number 3. They will also be replacing the breaker box, pump disconnects, and lighting in number 1. We're looking good on $35,000 budget was approved for this project. We should come in under by a few $1,000s.
Good.
Luke assisted the village crew in flushing hydrants. We removed the milk house heaters and replaced the door lock at Nadu Well House. We gave the new key to Nate to give to Percy. We are free and clear of that building now. Performed a full service on the chlorine injection at the water plant, installed new stem, pump tube, and cleaned the lines. The roller head of the pump is showing a fair amount of wear, so we ordered a new roller head. Company hired by the state to perform the valve exercising program had to cancel due to equipment breakdown. We're trying to reschedule as soon as possible. It looks like it may be spring before they can get to us. The water loss is, we'll call it negligible, because the number was actually not possible. Positive. Yeah, we had a negative number, so there's no such thing, but it just means when you get below 10%, there's so many factors in there that it gets goofy. You just know that your loss is negligible at that point.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's the first time in a while.
It is.
So I want to extend a thank you to the crew for their work, the Katie Wynn, and being on below budget. So if you could extend that to them, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
That takes attention to detail and a lot of work, so appreciate it.
I gave Dan heck earlier a year. I blame, you blame.
They're on budget.
Blame the
I
flood.
don't care if it's a year.
Water light report. Electric department, replace secondary service to Katie Wynn, pump house number 3, or Katie Wynn pump house number 3, right now. Outage at Gould Hill Road, 18 customers for 1 hour. Village crews cut brush on Western Road, Railroad Street, and School Street. Fix the street light on 30 Lower Main West, and a number of photo cells around the village. Finished the estimate, this is a big estimate. Very complex one, for the Johnson Woolen Mill. Did estimate for 136 School Street, help with finishing inventory pricing, price changing. Signed Matt up for NEPPA apprenticeship, working on getting generator serviced. Met with the engineers at the shop, for the garage project. Met with a moving company about the library move. Completed monthly meter readings, high-low checks, substation checks, and big savings. Water and sewer.
Can you elaborate more on the library move?
Yeah.
So that's we met the company that's gonna be lifting and moving the library.
Right.
So talking about what electrical adjustments would need to happen as far as which lines will have to be removed. If there's any poles, or it turns out there's only one pole that actually would have to move, which was better than they thought.
Yeah.
So.
And I also know that we're not moving the other utilities. They have to contact
Right.
that.
They actually have connection to those people, I guess.
Okay. I heard a rumor that they didn't.
Yeah.
They thought we were moving all the lines and.
No, it's a bad rumor.
Okay,
They coordinate with all of them.
okay, perfect.
Yep. Water and sewer. A water leak digs on College Hill Road and Lamoille View Drive. Hydrant flushing and fall pump downs. Expected sewer water connection at 136 School Street. Marked out water, sewer, and catch basin lines on Library Street. That's for the stormwater project. Shut off water and move meters for Winter Trailhead, VSC Greenhouse, VSC Old Town Hall, and Lamoille View Cemetery. General, cut trees at Cold Spring, service bobcats for winter. Had 2,500, 3,500 tundra, and 5,500 undercoated. Change flags in the village green. Put up winter sand at the shop and sewer plant. And completed monthly inspections of fire extinguishers, fuel pump readings, and oil contaminant safety. There were no meetings this month. RJ's not here. Now the fire department report. Calls, fire department responded to 10 calls, 9 during the day, 1 at night. Average was 104 minutes. Those calls were 3 vehicle crashes, 3 automatic alarms, 1 vehicle fire, 1 smoke condition, 1 electrical fire, and 1 mutual aid for a structure fire. Average number of firefighters responded was 11. Total hours of service was 132. We put the new UTV and enclosed trailer on display during a thank you gathering to recognize Tim Valley and the Green Mountain ATV Club and Valley Inc. Well, Valley Fuels, this is both come in. For their generous sponsorship towards our new equipment. The truck replacement committee has received final specifications and pricing for the engine replacement project. We intend to present a request at this meeting. All right, I would suggest we move to VIPSA since both fire department and Marla are not here yet.
Question on Carole Tracey thing, how many of those awards were given out?
I believe there was 3 in all of the Northeast.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're gonna pass this, we're gonna pass fire. Can no one? How are you doing today?
Good. My part is.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Eric expressed you'd like an update on where the AMI is, so trying to keep it short, sweet. Got a couple of page document for you. Front page, walk through kind of the overall project, and the backside is Johnson specifics. Like walk you through that. Happy to answer any questions you've got beyond. So just a reminder of kind of where we are, where we started. If you look at the very bottom of the page, there's a diagram of what the AMI system would look like. So we have both electric meters and water meters. Electric meters would be replacing all of the electric meters you have now with new electronic, basically computers that would go inside of the house with RF radio frequency in them. The water meters, you could either use the existing meters you have or replace ones that are there now. There's money in the budget for water meter replacement. And then there's a module that sits on top of the water meters that does the actual radio communication back to give the data, send the data to the software. The system uses 400 megahertz radio frequency. It's a licensed frequency that VEPSA got through the FCC. We got the same frequency statewide for all the member utilities. So everybody's sharing the same frequency. That's a little bit challenging because we have Swanton and Neasburg who are right up on the Canadian border. And so we had to deal with Canada. It took a little bit of time. The data collection units, or DCUs, are boxes that go on your electric poles. And those collect the information from up to about 2,500 meters. So Johnson, in your territory, you need 6, mostly for coverage, not so much for the number of meters, but to be able to reach things. From those collection units, you're going to use either cell phone's the preferred, but if you have fiber optics, they'll connect onto that too. To feed back to a cloud-based software solution that has its one piece of software, both controls the meters. It allows you to see what's going on in the meters themselves, to do remote disconnects if customers choose to do that. And it's going to store the meter information. So this 15-minute reads coming back from each meter. So every meter on a person's home will report 4 times an hour, basically what's being used there. The way it's set up, all of the member utilities of EPSA will be in one database. It'll be segmented, so each utility sees its own data, has access to it. And we have at VEPSA, we have a kind of an overlay, so we can do load forecasting, analytics. We can see everybody's information. That's the system we're building. Where we are in the project, we've now chosen a vendor. Clara Systems is the meter vendor. They're a national vendor based in the US. Vermont Electric Co-op uses their meters right now, although they're looking at rebidding, and I don't know if they'll stay with them or not. But they went through our process, won the bid. We've signed the contract. It's all locked in. We got the $5 million grant from the legislature, essentially got handed to the Department of Public Service, and then we had to apply through them. So that now is locked in. We signed the agreement. The money, the grant, $5 million allocated to VEPSA, and then within our share, each of the member utilities has got an allocated share. So it's not like Swanton's going first, they could use all the grant. Everybody gets roughly 48.5% of the funding for their project, at least the budget that was proposed. If we run under in some utilities, then we may end up moving some money around. But going in, we're allocating it to every member equally. We've stood up the project management office, so we've hired 2 consulting firms. Allen Stamp is a company that's worked with Velco quite a bit on their fiber optics and projects of that nature. We've hired them to manage the project and coordinate with Aclara. And the person you'll most likely be dealing with is Jackie Lemmerher. Her firm's out of Massachusetts. And she is focused, initially she helped us review the status of each member and determine whether this project even made sense or not. And we've hired her to now help us do the integration between AMI and the customer billing systems. So there's a computer transfer that needs to happen between those systems. So those folks are on board. They're working now in Swanton. Eventually we got the FCC license locked in. The first step in designing the system is you have to look at they call the meter configurations. So you're looking at what information do I want the meter to send back. And we ended up setting a configuration with all the utilities having the same thing, at least as a starting place. You can change that remotely over the radio frequency if you wanted a particular meter to do something different. So that's possible. But for ordering them from the factory, we tried to get a consistent configuration down.
So it's every 15 minutes.
So it's every 15-minute data and recording both kilowatt and kVAR, so real and reactive power every 15 minutes. Also sending back voltage readings, so you'll have the voltage on every customer every 15 minutes. Some utilities have found that if you get a customer complaint, flickering lights or something, you can then look meter by meter down the circuit and see what's going on. It's going to send back outage information. So if the meter loses power, you'll get an automatic notification. If somebody tampers with the meter and pulls it out or tries to flip it over, it'll notify you that somebody's messing with it. It's got all kinds of communications diagnostics. So if there's something going wrong, you'll get a notice. So
the lifespan of these meters compared to the meters we currently have. I mean, I know the guys have to go out and check them, replace them, get them tested, bench tested, stuff like that. These meters.
Yeah, so these are electronic versus a lot of people still using mechanical.
Right.
So the manufacturers suggesting the last 15 years, they're warranted for 10. Similar, when we talk to other utilities that have used them, we know they typically last at least 12. So we're looking at 12 to 15 is the likely.
So what's the current cost per unit on meters? I mean, not the infrastructure, obviously what we're paying for right now, but
Yeah,
For the replacement meter.
depends on the meter type, but a typical residential's one of these is going to be about $140, somewhere in that range.
all right. So not too far off what we're paying.
Yeah, well, it depends on who you buy from. Some people buy from Vision and they're getting, $20 meters. It's meters other people have pulled out because they're putting in AMI. But these, I mean, average residential is about 140, and then commercial, or if you got some 3-phase needs CTPT that can get into multi-hundred.
Somewhere in about the time we finish paying off the loan is when we could expect having to restart replacing meters though.
I mean, you're gonna have some meters that fail, so there's gonna be sent back and replaced. And,
but a 10-year warranty.
but generally, yeah. So generally, about the time we'll get into it a little bit more, but we're looking at a 10-year loan. If VEPSA were to do the financing on your behalf, we'd look at a 10-year loan, which means about the time you're paying the loan off, it's when we're doing an RFP to see whether we want to keep it or replace.
Right. And how many meters do we currently have in the system?
I think what was in the list was 934 for electric.
Right. Just under 1,000.
Yeah. About half that many for water. And the water, actually, I believe we're just gonna be doing the sending units because according to our current water meter supplier, they're compatible.
Perfect. We just recently did the water meter, so that's gonna be good for that.
Yep.
So.
That may actually give you some more money to use from the grant on the electric side. Because we included in the grant an assumption you'd be replacing the meters.
Right. Most of them are going to stay.
So we're looking at current market prices. Given that shortly after the loan is done, we're looking at about another $100,000 to be able to start replacing units that are gonna go back within the next 24 to 36, 48 months from the period. Okay.
So we started, meter configurations are set, like I say, this, what I described, it's gonna bring back, that's what we're planning to order. The next step is what they call first article test meters, so you basically send your configuration into the manufacturer and they produce one box of each meter and ship it to you. We have to test it, so that's in process right now. The meters are supposed to show up in Swanton because they're our guinea pig utility. Sometime we were told mid-October, that date's now slipped to first part of December. But we're expecting those meters to come in for the end of the year. Swanton will test them. Once we say we're good, then we release for production. And then it's a 26-week lead time right now, at least from the time we release to when the first production meters show up. So the first tranche of utilities, Swanton being the lead, is looking at actually installing meters sometime in May of next year.
Reading ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a typo or if there's a change recently I hadn't heard of, but Johnson has always been in touch with. It says
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, you bounce back and forth between 2 and 3. What was in the grant that we put before the DPS was tranche 2.
Okay.
Doesn't really change your timeline.
Doesn't either way, it's the same either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other side of this is data collection units have a much shorter lead time. The computers, the meters have computer chips. It's been tough to get, so they take a little bit longer. The data collection units are shorter. We're expecting the first data collection units to be in Swanton around early December. It's supposed to ship November 22nd. We'll see how quick they get here. So Swanton will be putting those up in December, doing the commissioning. One of the steps to be able to order the DCUs is you have to pinpoint the exact location you're going to install them. So Clear is actually sending a staff member out to visit each utility. They've run a computer simulation of where they think those units will go. Then they have to go visit the utility and say, okay, this is the pole.
GIS.
Yeah. This is the pole. Is this tall enough? Is there a bunch of stuff on it? And get the utility to confirm we're okay with you using this pole. Once they've gone through that verification step, then we can order the DCUs for the utility. So Swanton's in process now. We're finalizing the locations on the rest of the first tranche, which is Orleans, Northfield, and Enosburg. Those orders should go in within the next couple of weeks. And then once they're set, we'll start visiting the next round of utilities so we can put in the order for the DCUs for the second group. The last piece is the software connection that I mentioned between the AMI system and your customer billing system. So we're in process of working with Johnson now to convert the customer billing piece to a company called El Dorado. You'd still be using NEMREC for the financials and most of your municipal operation, but El Dorado would do just the billing for the electric department. You can do water in that one too.
Yes, sir.
So the billing side of electric and water. Orleans already uses that software, so a lot of the integration work will be done with Orleans, and we'll just have to tweak it to match what you're doing. But most of the effort will start with them. And the last part, and this is a regulatory requirement as well, is doing public outreach. So we have a commitment with the state that we have to do focus groups with local residents. If you have any community organizations that you want to have learn about this, we've got contractors we bring in to do that. And when you go, the flyers, bill stuffers, focus groups, and then when you actually start to deploy the meters, there's an effort to make sure that customers are notified as you're doing the change out, because you typically change the meters by route, by meter route. So you want to line that up.
So the communication part of it is that, am I correct in that, like, each homeowner is gonna be able to access an app to see what they're doing now?
That's one of the end pieces to it, so they'd be able to see what their usage is,
So
what
that
their
would be
bill
part of
is.
the outreach to inform people. Understanding that.
Yeah, what's outreach right from the beginning to,
Similar to what the co-op's currently using now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
They have smart
the,
hub.
it won't be smart hub, but Clara has their own.
Right, I mean, it'd be similar to that, you'll have access to your daily kilowatt usage.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Your bill and so.
All right, yeah, it's a nice feature. So Rosemary, as far as this billing stuff goes, is there anything that you're just like, oh my fucking god, or is there?
So is this new billing software going to be able to download into NEPPA, like totals for a monthly?
Yeah, I'm not really the person to talk to about specifics.
You have input on that question?
Will we using the word when this launches, or will we be on El Dorado?
Well, I should be able
Yeah, the hope is you do El Dorado first.
Okay.
That would be the expectation.
That, yeah, because I heard there wasn't a whole lot of cooperation with Emery. For the, for the information they needed to do. To get the systems to talk to each other.
I think NEMRIC, the way it's set up, it's really. The core of NEMRIC is for municipal operations, so property taxes and dog licenses.
utilities at all.
Yeah, and electric is kind of a bolt on, so it never actually worked exactly right. So this move to El Dorado is actually mirrored around the way Orleans operates now. They use NEMRIC for their financials and their municipal operation, and then El Dorado is just the billing component. And there is a transfer of the financials from El Dorado to NEMRIC. I don't know how manual or automated that is. I can't answer that.
So the Eldorado, we could do our billing off of that software.
Yeah,
So it'd just be a matter of,
it's
Adding
specifically
it.
billing software.
okay,
Yeah, it's a little stuff. It's not really part of the AMI, but my VEPSA staff is working with Johnson, and there's 3 other utilities doing it at the same time,
So it's,
trying to help facilitate that.
there's other software out there that some of the bigger utilities are using. Just prohibitively expensive.
that's where I was headed with this. I mean, we get all this infrastructure and stuff like that, but if she can't send a bill out,
Right.
what the
So
hell?
the Eldorado.
If we gotta spend $100,000 to print a bill,
Yeah, the
Again.
Eldorado is much cheaper and user friendly and just, it's the right fit.
it's an Eldorado, you say.
El Dorado,
Yes.
correct.
So you're familiar with Eldorado?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
She was part of the whole selection process. Actually,
Right.
yeah, I was, Crystal did a ton of research. And presentations with different companies, and this seemed like the most affordable, best fit for all.
one of the smallest, small utilities.
Yeah,
So she says there might not be a need to make this patch work with Nemrick, or are we gonna be able to do, are we gonna be use the Eldorado just and do billing straight out of there? Huh?
it's billing.
Billing only, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way this would work is the AMI system would collect the meter data.
Mhm.
There would be an automatic computer transfer from the AMI to the Eldorado billing system. So there wouldn't be any manual transfer of that data. Eldorado would give you the ability to print the bills, send them out. And then what Rosemary's talking about is the financial, like the money you collected. You have to record that
Right.
in your financials. So there would be a transfer from Eldorado to Nemrick
To Nemrick for the
to record how much you.
But you're saying that might be a manual transfer.
Or Orleans has set up that process, and I'd have to have their office manager, sit down and
You
walk.
can't
it.
know it all, right?
I'm not close enough to really
I'm assuming Eldorado doesn't do like cash payments and that kind of stuff, or does?
They have their own system for taking cash payments in. It's not, it doesn't work with Emery.
So with them guys, do they also do digital, like email and pay online or things like that, or? are those-
Yeah, they actually have a web-based app as well, so customers can call and look up their own balance, not call, but they can log in. Create a login and look up their own
And
balances.
pay for it and all that. I like it.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna
that,
be-
can you do with a pay by check, or does it have to be a credit card or debit, or?
They offer that service as well, the
Okay.
check, credit cards. I don't know if their rates are as reasonable as what we have through Municipay. I can, as we get closer to that, we can always talk to them and negotiate that, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just put it in perspective, I mean, I think the Eldorado, you're talking. Well, around $10,000. Whereas Enosburg right now is going to one of the other vendors called NISC, which is for the larger. And they're looking at like $130,000 implementation plus a higher annual fee. So this was seemed like a reasonable compromise to get better functionality to work with AMI without having a huge investment. And like I said, Orleans has been using it for a number of years and seems happy.
So what would be the, oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead, go ahead.
what would be the difference in that they're willing to pay such a service, that they're willing to pay such a high price more than, well, I mean, what are they getting extra? I
Yeah,
mean, I gotta believe that they think there's something going on, just.
so Eldorado is very, very focused on the billing aspect. And they don't offer other things. You get billing and that's pretty much it. NISC, their whole business model, they started out in the co-op space. And the whole business model is they're gonna sell you the billing module, but then they're gonna sell you the financial module and geographic information systems and work management, and they want you to buy the whole thing. And so larger utilities that want to be completely integrated and are willing to pay that, they have the customer base to pay for it. They tend to go with something like an NISC.
We're buying Word, they're buying the full office.
Yeah.
That's the way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eldorado is working closely with, I'm not sure if is it Crystal or who?
Yeah.
To write subcodes for the solar nightmare.
Yeah, so one of the conversions here, Jacksonville's actually implementing right now. They're the first utility to go forward with this. They're supposed to go live tomorrow, I'm told. But all of the utilities are struggling with this whole net metering. There's a lot of manual calculations. So we've actually asked Eldorado to specifically program, we're paying them an extra fee to program in an ability to do the net metering as part of the billing calculation. So you set the customer up and it will automatically calculate the credits for you. So a lot of the spreadsheets and everything people are having to use goes away. On the backside of the sheet I gave you specifics to Johnson. As Eric said, depending on how we've described this, you're either tranche 2 or 3 toward the end of the project is the way to think about it. So we're putting out the data collection units for the FERC's folks now. That'll happen around December timeframe. We're looking at the tranche 2 and some of the tranche 3 folks starting those DCUs in the spring. I would see you probably in that April, May timeframe for putting up the data collection units. So that's the 6 items. There'd be make ready work. So typically they're going to pick a pole, verify whether you need to replace it with a higher pole, or if you've got.
Did I miss the first part? I apologize. Who is installing the DCUs?
So that normally would be, Clara's gonna have staff on site, but they would be looking to your utility line crew to actually place it on the pole.
So that is something that we need to.
Have to be scheduled in, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so in Swanton, for example, they decided. The cleric came and said, yes, this is the pole, and Swanton looked at it and said, well, we've got a lot of communications wires and we're gonna have to move stuff around, it's gonna be. Easier, simpler, and keep it separated if we put another pole 5 feet away and say, we're gonna put the DCU on that new pole, that's all it's on there. So each utility can decide, how they want to implement and who they want to do it, but the going in assumption is it would be on the electric poles. And it would be installed by your line crews with an Aclara person here to verify that it's done correctly. And that it's communicating to the software. Because the commissioning is the last step, they have to make sure that unit's actually talking back to the software that they need to.
So can these
Yep.
costs that are calculated here, are they just for the electric meter? Would our guys still have to go around like they do now to read the water meters if we didn't?
So even if you stay with your existing water meters. You can put the what they call MTU, so the communication module that sits on top of the water meter.
Mhm.
That would communicate through this AMI system and it would handle the same way. The water usage data would get collected in the Aclara software. It would get passed to El Dorado for the billing and it would be treated the same way as the.
So this is gonna take out our whole piece of manual meter reading,
Correct.
correct? So in the cost there of $10,000 after all the grants and your financing help. There's gotta be an offset, I would think,
Productivity, doing
Of our-
other work.
after things are, glitches are worked out and all that, and
What you find is you end up, the folks who are spending time meter reading now and spending days driving around collecting data. You end up, most of the utilities end up using them for higher level work. So you're still gonna have to be dealing with communications problems with the meters, you're gonna have, this will flag a lot of problems you didn't even know you had. And so you're sending people out to check on the meters and deal with customer issues, so.
This will definitely take a long time away from the guys, not only sending them out for meter reads for move-ins, move-outs, something that I can access right from my computer. Plus, it also will point out problems quicker because you get readings, I believe, on the electric every 15 minutes. So you can, if people call about, my bill's like crazy, what's going on, I don't use this now. You can literally look at something and on there.
Nate is always said as a justification for the manual thing, that they get to actually see what's going on at a house, but that's just in one little, once a month instant of time, whereas
Right.
we're gonna have a much better picture of every 15 minutes or whatever it is.
And this, like, if you have power outage, it'll automatically tell the system. So even if someone's not home, power goes down, Nate's gonna know.
We'll know right away.
So is it set up with some kind of reading for a continuous, say, water run, so that there would be an alert that all of a
Yes.
sudden they've used 800 gallons?
Yeah, it's not a continuous read, but you can set parameters, like if a customer normally uses a certain number of gallons each day and all of a sudden readings coming in much higher, it'll flag that for you. So then you can say, oh, well, there's a problem here, we did.
So you said that, Marla? Would you set those parameters or was that something?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we currently have similar parameters in our software now.
So you have the ability to access that and set parameters?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way we're setting it up, going in, each utility is pretty much that they want to manage the operation locally. We're envisioning that as we get it built out, we're probably going to have a person at Vepsi who's also because we're going to be looking at the higher level analytics of what's going on. So we probably will have eyes on it, but you'll have direct capability to run it the way you want.
Perfect.
So the alerts, are they just email alerts or can you also get SMS alerts?
I believe you can do both. It's set up within the software.
You're referring for like call time and stuff for evening.
Yeah, like if the power goes out, it would go right to Nate and feel like power is out on this area. Just for after hours or something, and just for specifically power outages.
Yeah, so that's something we would have to set up on the back end to see exactly how you want to use it. Because it's going to give you a notice within the, what they call meter data management system. You'll get a flag in that software.
And then blocks out.
Right, it'll tell you every single meter, so if you've got a circuit that's out, you might get, 60 or 70 notices all at once, people are out of power. You may not want to have every one of those sent to your crew, you may want to filter that to some degree. So we'd have to work through exactly how we set those notices up.
But the good thing is once they get that call out, they come in, get on one of the tablets or get on their computer, pull it up, the map will show all the red dots. So it won't be a case of, okay, how big this, I don't know how big this outage is. Look at the screen once and knows exactly what that outage is.
So they don't have to go house to house afterwards to see if the power's on, they'll just show the power's on.
Yep.
And it'll help them eliminate the time we need to find out where the outage is coming from, right?
On power on side, you'll get a notice when the power comes back on from the meter to the software.
Yeah.
And you also have an ability to ping the meter directly. So if you want to confirm, you can take a laptop and ping the meter individually and see whether the power's back on.
You're gonna help me with all the computer crap.
So I have just a question,
Most is.
as far as the water goes. Now, there's a water break at somebody's house and it's before the meter. That obviously you're not gonna be able to tell there's a water break. Is there something that could go on, because at every water line, there's typically a gate valve? Is there something that could be put on the gate valves to say, well, the water level went really high on this water line for whatever, and could alert us to say, we have a water break on this line?
There are meters that can be put on valves, on hydrants, in line, that will read your pressure in that zone.
Right.
And if you get a pressure drop, it'll alarm it.
But that's probably not
Those are
gonna be
all-
in this system.
That's right. You could probably make it compatible with this system.
I'm just
But
thinking
it's
down the
all-
road. If
Down the
if you
road,
were-
they're great things to have. They're, like anything else. It's
Yeah.
all on how much money you want to spend.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if down the road, well, this valve isn't no good.
Right,
Is this the time that seems how we've got it ripped apart?
right.
You'll be throw
The sensor on it.
this on. And then
Yeah.
we can see for down the road for 10 years, if there's a water leak in that line, we can be like, oh yeah, the pressure's gone down, the flow has gone up by 700 gallons. It's, we have a problem in this line.
Yep,
I just didn't know.
technology is there.
Right now, you look for water.
Oh, I did.
And there are sensors you can add to the AMI system, like Eric says. I mean, you once you get the meters in, then you can build out from there. There's this other stuff you can add. On the electric side, they're now coming out with like an electric vehicle charging station that is directly connected to the AMI. So there are other things that you can do once you get the main system installed. Talked about the water meter MTUs. We found the customer information system can take a while to get the vendor to communicate. In your case, like I said, Orleans is in the first tranche, so they're gonna do the majority of the work. They'll be about 6 months ahead of you, so by the time we get to the point of doing your integration, that should pretty much be worked out. And they have water as well, so they'll do both sides, just have to tweak it for your individual policies.
Do they have a plan where they put on so many meters online at a time? Instead of, it would be impossible, I think, to bring everything online on.
Yeah, as we get to deployment, we'll have to sit down with each utility, you and specifically, and talk about how do you want to roll it out. The typically you're converting meters by route. And we want to make sure that we're lining up, so when you do your billing, you're not like halfway through a route. They're all converted. So that conversation will happen as we get closer to the
And
deployment.
I heard it's pretty time consuming
It can be.
to bring it online, okay.
And we kind of hit the dollars here, gross budget projection based on the number of DCUs you have, number of electric meters, number of water meters. An estimate of the labor, we put in $35 per meter to do the change out. It's based on an outside contractor cost. So if you're using your internal crews, that might be a little bit cheaper. But that's all included. We estimate about 520,000 for Johnson to do the conversion. The grant, there's $248,000 that's earmarked for you from the grant, which brings the net cost down to about 272,000 roughly.
But as we said before, that's probably gonna be lower because we have a lot of water meters that can stay.
And you said that this spring is they're gonna start putting the DCU, in, right? And then when do they, what was the target date for starting to bring on the change outs, meter change outs to go with the system?
So if we assume we're gonna be ordering the meters, say around springtime, it's right now, at least, it's a 26-week lead time. So we'd be looking at sometime toward the fall.
So we would have to have the billing software sooner than later.
Well, but timeline can be scaled based on when El Dorado is in place.
Okay.
So once we figure out when El Dorado is gonna be able to be done their conversion, then we can line up the meters to come in after that. That's the whole, am I in tranche 2, am I in tranche 3, 25, 26, so earliest I would say is fall of 25. El Dorado takes a little longer, they may want to push it to spring of 26 to line everything up.
You got any other questions, Marla? Okay. Here.
So, assuming that we save money on a meter, or we do the pull top stuff, or whatever it is. It's looking like you said 49% grant or something like that.
48 and change.
48 and change. We save $1, do we lose that 48 cents?
You can cover up to 50%, not above 50%.
Okay, that was, yeah, perfect.
And I put in here, we have already locked in a loan. We knew the grant's reimbursable. So we knew we were gonna need operating cash to float while we were getting reimbursed. So VEPSA has already locked in a $4 million loan for this project for the group. With a 10-year term, and we negotiated with the bank that if any of the member utilities wanna have us finance, so instead of using it for operating reserves, we would convert it to a fixed loan. You have access. So when you get to the point of actually buying things, you can look at what you can get for a rate. If you can do better than 5.28, do yourself. If you want us to fund it, then that's what rate you would pay.
Okay.
And I said, the O&M costs, once you get through the first year, everything's installed, between the software and the kind of operating cost that Aclara charges, about $10,000 a year.
Is there any kind of warranty on the equipment? 10 years. For the meter.
Marla, do you have any other questions?
Oh, not yet. Not because of the software.
I'm sure I'll be back to talk with you as we get closer.
I appreciate you
Perfect,
coming
thank
in
you
on
very much.
short
Thanks for
notice.
coming, Ken.
No problem.
Okay.
We
Carole,
hit Marla.
you want to do Marla, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You gotta have. So. New England Public Power Association gives out awards every year. And one of them is the Carole A. Tracey Customer Service Award. The history of this award is that Carole Tracey was a longtime employee of NEPPA who succumbed to cancer in January 2003. According to Pat Hyland, NEPPA's executive director at the time, Carole Tracey possessed an exceptional ability to serve our members in a timely, professional, and friendly manner. She exemplified outstanding customer service for our association. Carole A. Tracey Award was established as a memorial to her and the dedication she had to serving NEPPA and the public power community. The description is that the Carole A. Tracey Award is presented to employees of NEPPA member utilities who deliver outstanding service to their customers, either through sustained exceptional performance in serving their customers or the development of new and or innovative programs to meet customer needs. Marla Emery nomination. Marla not only always goes above and beyond to help our customers with all of their concerns, but she was also crucial in our customer relations in the wake of Superstorm 2023, when a large portion of the village of Johnson was devastated by record floodwaters, causing those sections to be shut off from the grid until they dried out and services proven safe. Her dedication to duty, organized manner, and care for her customers were also called on to the nth degree at that time, and she never faltered. Marla has always been a key player in our research for a more capable utility billing and inventory software than the utility currently used, and found the perfect match that we are going to accept. In my 30+ years of utility management, I've never seen a more deserving admin staff member deserving of recognition than Marla Emery. I'm the general manager of the utility and her supervisor. The chair of the village trustees also wanted to co-sign this nomination, but the form had no allowance for that, so I'm mentioning it here. Marla was presented this award at the NEPPA conference in Worcester, Mass. 2 weeks ago. It's my honor to represent the Carole A. Tracey Customer Service Award tonight to Marla Emery. Well deserved. Let's hear it from Marla.
I think she's
I
gonna
think
get
we
mad
got
if we
one
do that.
picture, she's probably happy with that.
All right.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from having a drink before you got here.
Good job, Marla.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Give that back to you. Thank you.
Like what? Some useful stuff on here.
Johnson Fire Department, engine.
Chief, you're up.
You're going to have to come up front.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, as long as we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for allowing us to come in, but I'm gonna pick up from our meeting in May where we agreed to move ahead with the engine replacement. So if we were tasked with putting together a build specification and current pricing. Our last conversation, we had identified the upcoming federal emissions as a potential hurdle because it was going to add some significant costs to the cab and chassis, which is what we are being told through the vendors. As well as it's no secret, everybody realized after COVID, especially in a specialty product, all the prices of manufacturing and stuff went up. So we set out to, as was agreed, we set out to work with Trustee Emergency Products. They are out of St. Albans. They're a vendor for E1 fire truck apparatus. Have used them on all 4 of our big trucks historically. So we created a truck specification and sent it to E1 in Florida for pricing. That came back at $560,000. Broken down to approximately $140,000 for the cab and chassis and $420,000 for the fire truck body portion of it. That's more than we can afford. That's more than our capital planning could afford. It's more than Johnson can afford. So the committee went back and did 2 or 3 different rounds of meetings and design cuts and design changes to try to bring the price down, as well as understanding that the truck has a lifespan and it has to meet the needs of the community. So there's a fine line there between reducing the project, but also being able to provide the services, not step backwards. So that actually went quite well. The second thing that we did, because we had that $560,000 package, we actually had our international commercial cab and chassis specification. So we took that to Allegiance Trucks in Jericho. And we also had to source and cross that over to a comparable Freightliner cab and chassis that we put out to Charlie Boys on behalf of the Village of Johnson to try to get a price singly on the cab and chassis, and then let that committee try to negotiate down the bottom. So that was successful. That stuff came back with a cab and chassis price that was at $136,000, and it came back with a body price of $376,000. So we brought the project a lot closer to 500,000, 505, 510. There was a spread between the Freightliner cab and chassis and the international cab and chassis of about 14,000. And with the help of Tracey, who prefers that the E1 product built on international chassis, we were able to take the Freightliner information and put some pressure on Allegiance at International, and we got them to come down to 123,000. So our current best project right now is a total cost of $499,000, being 123, just under 123,000 for cab and chassis, and 376,000 for the body. So that became a number that we could afford. The capital plan could support that. The project was scheduled for a few years ago. We've been continuing our contributions. When we got to that 499 with the last round of cut, that's something that Johnson can achieve. So as we were preparing to get ourselves ready to come over here on the 3rd week of October, October 18th, E1 introduced a 5% increase on the bond. We had discussions about this. We were anticipating that might come a little closer to the first of the year, but it came quicker than without notice, it came quicker than we anticipated. Since we have a good relationship with Tracey, they have actually put an order in to E1 using the Johnson specification as a spec truck for them with no obligation to us. So they locked that in on the 17th of October and saved us the 5% increase. Should we move forward with it, there is actually a spec truck in the work order out there that is the Johnson product that we could attach to. So the best position for us to be in would be to do 2 things. One would be to for the village as a customer supplied cab and chassis, go ahead and purchase the proposal from Allegiance Trucks for the international cab and chassis for the 123,000. Eric has the spec pack. It's $2 less than that.
122,961.
122,961 is the written proposal. That would position us to place a cab and chassis order that would be ahead of implementation of the federal emissions stuff. The risk to us is that we own the cab and chassis, it gets drop shipped to Ocala. If there's a problem with it, that's something that we or our vendor has to work out. He feels very comfortable, he has done this before with formerly Clark's, now Allegiance. That's the reasoning behind wanting to go with the international. He doesn't have the same comfort with Charlie Boys. Nothing against Freightliner, just the fact that if we're gonna step out there as a third party, their recommendation is to use the Legion's trucks through International. They have somebody down there that will receive it, can check it off the dock and stuff and move it to the vendor. And then I do not think we're going to be able to improve the design or have another chance at avoiding the 5% body cost. So that's approximately just under $20,000 that is potentially on the line for us.
Somewhere 25.
Um,
Well, that 5% is on just the.
Just on the body.
bill.
Just on the body, at this point, if we do a customer supplied cab and chassis, that is task number 1 and it's
Right.
not in the package,
It's
so the
something.
body would be subject to 5, not the whole truck.
Right.
But we were able to get that cab and chassis price from the $14,000 spread down to dropped off 10, so that the 2 cab and chassis were just under $2,000. And that's achievable. I think it is prudent for us to stay with their recommendation and do the international, even though it's $1,000 or so more.
So the 123 for the cab and chassis, is that available in the equipment fund right now?
Yes.
Yes.
It is, and if we place an order, it's expected that that might be built and drop shipped somewhere around July of 25. So that would be when we would have to write out our payment on that. Rosemary and I have chatted, we do have funds available to write a check for the cab and chassis.
I'd just like to interject here too. That they were talking about a very tiny difference in cost between the international and the Freightliner. The 2 major things I see with the international, which is slightly more. 1, it keeps the fire department stock all the same, which is huge in emergency services. And 2, you're buying the general manager of Allegiance, who was the owner of, previously it was Clark's. He was the owner for decades. He's the general manager now, and he was the Underhill fire chief for decades. So he knows the business. He knows fire trucks much better than the other outfit does.
Right, that seems to add comfort to our assuming the risk of being a customer who purchased the cab and chassis.
That's the international. You said,
Right.
You said Freightliner.
Oh, I'm saying instead of the Freightliner, the international
Yeah,
keeps you pure.
Yeah.
And it has you being helped out building a fire truck by a long-term fire chief.
So are you looking for both objectives tonight, RJ?
Yes.
I would like to speak to the body, that $376,000 project, if the international build is successful. And gets to drop ship to Florida in and around summer of 2025. The earliest that we're anticipating the build and the delivery of the fire truck would be the summer of 26. So we have the funds available to pay for the cab and chassis come summer of 25. The body would be due summer of 26 or shortly thereafter. That would need to have a local short-term loan because we do not have enough fund balance to write the check for that. But this capital plan can support over the 5 years that we have historically done, so not changing the template of the plan that was approved. We can, through our contributions, we can pay our annual payments to pay that off. So there would not be a request in 26 to come up with new funds. However, we don't have enough balance to pay for it on delivery. We would have to have a local loan and then pay that loan back over the 5-year span that we typically do.
So what's the shortfall in 26 approximately?
For money,
For the 300 change.
after we write the check for the cab and chassis, we would have on hand approximately $130,000 in 2026.
So $200,000 shortfall in 26.
Right, that's our fund balance after paying out our 123 the prior year.
I think, are you also there, RJ?
Yes, so I would ask for you guys to consider Village of Johnson placing an order for the International as a customer supplied cab and chassis through Allegiance, which essentially would solidify the engine replacement project overall, and I would ask you to consider some of the points that Eric stated. The history with the source, the fact of staying with International and staying with E1 products. I would recommend that you agree to sole source the body purchase through E1 to be paid at a later date, and we could figure out our short financing approximately 18 months or so from.
So the sole sourcing will fall under our procurement policy with trusted vendor.
Yep.
So does somebody want to read out objective 1 as a motion?
Actually, let's do the motion first. So I'll make a motion, we authorize. RJ, the amount of $122,961 to do a sole source purchase. Actually, you get another bid, I'll do that, right? From the International truck listed in our packet from Allegiance. That's Allegiance.
Wait a second.
Second.
Okay, discussions?
So I just want to point out that, the work you guys put into this project is not unnoticed. The fact that you're keeping above, up to speed on the, emissions that are coming down the pipe that are gonna save us tens of thousands of dollars in this project. And getting this into us in such a professional format in this timeline is a big deal, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Public discussion? How you guys all feel?
Aye.
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 Aye, so it's unanimous. Somebody want to read motion objective 2?
So that would be the sole source.
The motion to approve sole source purchase, the E1 built body through dealer source. Is that how you say it? Consortium emergency product for $375,762. Anticipated delivery July 26th. With short-term loan financing to be determined closer to date.
So a second.
I'll second it.
Yeah, all in favor? Oh, sorry. Discussion. Discussion from the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you, guys. Quality job is normal.
And let your truck company know that we appreciate the work they put in.
Chairman's here, so that will get past that. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Okay, next, Adrian with the beautification committee.
Hello.
Just so you know, your feed is still blurry.
It depends. It catches different things.
It's not.
Is it in
goes
Zoom?
in and out.
Yeah,
Is it
it's-
because, you know, when you're in Zoom and you can make your background blurry behind you?
Mhm.
Is that what's happening, maybe?
I don't think it is, because it'll be clear for a minute, then it'll come out.
Oh, okay.
I think it was you was blurry right here all the time.
It is.
Get on
It is like that.
it. Good.
So the beautification committee is asking for the village crew. Well, for one, if we can put up solar powered lanterns on the trees at the village green. And if so, if the village crew could help us hang those if we purchase those.
Trees.
Yeah, for the holidays and for like the Jubilee Festival.
The hanging lights.
Do you have any rendition of these in terms of the?
There's like a picture of them?
Yeah.
I don't have a picture of them, but they're just like little like lanterns, like kind of like smaller and
Little solar panel on top,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
do they come with a hanger, or is this something we have to?
No, it just has like a hook on it. Yeah.
How many are there?
How many are there? We haven't bought them yet. We are gonna buy about 100. I think. The beautification committee was gonna pay for some, but the Jubilee got a grant and would pay for the rest of them. And
Tree.
I think isn't there 3 trees in the village green?
This is just for the Jubilee?
I was gonna ask your guys what you guys thought, if it should be just for the Jubilee or if it could be longer. I just worry about wind. But I guess it depends on like when they're hanging them up, if they think they'll be all right. We haven't ordered them or gotten them yet, so I don't know how great the quality.
My only concern is 100 seems like a lot on that little space, but.
I don't think it'd be a lot, like, just thinking about like little light bulbs. Like,
Yeah, they're not, I get what you're saying, they're not very bright ones.
Yeah, yeah. And they're solar panels, solar powered, so I don't think they'd be like super bright, but if it's too many, we don't have to hang them all. Yeah.
I'm just confused. Are these individual lanterns
Mhm.
or are they a string of
No,
lights?
it's just little hanging lugs. There's all different kinds of them.
Hang them kind of like Christmas.
So each one is
a
individual.
Christmas tree ornament.
Each one is individual and has its own little solar
Yeah.
And your intent currently is to put all of them on the village green?
Odds are they're best brightest like the ones you see stuck.
Well, I don't care about the
Like
brightness,
on
I'm
to
just, that's okay.
So you probably want to like hang them starting at like 8-9 feet up, so they don't find new homes.
Oh, like so people grabbing them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
Just white lights and not living multicolor or whatever they.
We were gonna do multicolored ones, yeah.
Just something, normally roughly, just so I can show you guys,
Yeah,
go up or down there.
they're more like that top one than the second one. Yeah.
So it'd be more like this.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not real bright, so I still don't see 100 fit in there.
I don't.
Oh, it depends on the
So-
size of the tree.
Yeah.
So you're looking to buy 100, you're not, I mean, or you're like, at most it would be 100. I mean, what are you? So your plan is to buy 100?
Yeah,
hang
or how much we can afford.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
buy, yeah,
right.
mhm. Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
this would take a couple guys with a bucket truck, like an hour or
Yeah.
two at the most.
The number 100, I'm sorry, Steve, I just feel like how you talking, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
There you go, okay.
well, if you're thinking 100's too many, then we could do less, and then if it's too little, then next year we could buy more.
I would suggest that, I'd make a motion to allow the beautification committee to put lights up using our crew's discretion on how many to go on.
I'll second the motion. Okay, discussion, all right, so now discussion. So. The number 100 just is really rocking me a little bit. So your committee has gone and looked at the trees and they figure 100 lights will look good, or are you buying 100 lights because you have X amount of dollars to spend?
Yeah, it's based off of like how much, and I'm just thinking that that you would need a good amount to make it worthwhile and impactful.
You want it.
What's,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just like to
you-
light up the village, because past jubilees or events, it's just really dark over there, and yeah, you can't really see what you're doing.
Sure, can I make an amendment? Here. I'd like to amend it to allow them to do it for the Jubilee and a week or so after. I don't think you're gonna have very good luck with them charging
Mhm.
in later months.
this project, I got some solar lights that work.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
have solar lights outside.
I mean,
Oh,
you probably want to do it through the holidays, because that's what it's kind of the effect.
That's why
How long do you want?
after the first.
Yeah.
We were hoping December and January, but again, with like, I don't know how stable or,
Once they got covered,
So you're okay
Yeah.
through the end of January?
So I'll go with my amendment for whatever time. The board, I guess.
Well, if they're thinking December, January, we can authorize it. January 15th, that way all the holidays are done. Let's do 30, because that's, okay, 30 sounds good to me, and move on, sure. All right, so that's that. So
Will you second it?
I re-seconded you. And we're back in discussion.
Rediscussion.
The amendment is to approve January 30th.
Yeah. 30, 31, whatever.
Must be 31, so that's a great.
Oh, yes, it's
31, yeah. January, write that go, January.
Yes.
And again, that was with the board, the crew's discretion, and if 100 seems too many.
Yeah,
So back to the lighting number, so the committee is more thinking that they have X amount of dollars and that will buy X amount of lights.
Mhm.
Is there anything else other than 100 solar lights that would be beneficial to your committee to?
For the Jubilee? Or,
Yeah, I mean, the grants for the
Grant
Jubilee, right?
report.
for the Jubilee.
That's
yeah,
how much?
35.
And how much of that's gonna be insurance?
300.
So it's like $3,000.
well, Kyle's working on the budget and she's doing all the planning. I don't really know, where the money's going towards with all of it.
Okay, just, I mean, be part of the committee, just, we got a
Yeah.
ballpark and insurance, and that comes out of the top of that grant money,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, all I know is the beautification committee approved 120 to spend on the lights, and then if it's not enough lights, Kyle's putting up the rest of the money with the Jubilee money.
$120
Mhm.
for 100 lights.
Yeah,
They're expensive.
I was gonna say that one you showed us was $45.
Yeah.
for 8 lights.
one thing we tried last year doing like wax bags with tea lights in them, and it cost about the same amount of money, and they got destroyed with like water pretty fast. So we wanted to invest in something a little more durable to use year after year.
Absolutely, I'm just curious what kind of light you're gonna buy for $1. Is $120 for 100 of them?
Well, it's not all the money from us, it's for the Jubilee too.
So Jubilee,
Yeah.
the $3,000 grant, you're kicking out 120, and they're gonna do the other $2,000 or whatever. it is.
Yeah, not that much. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all done.
Okay, just got to run public.
My only concern, and I think it's a great idea, I love things that make the village look more festive and welcoming, and it's gonna be, just have to be patient. Find the timeline for them to do it, because they're already, I'm at half crew next week, and they're stringing all the lights with Council Works, next week,
Yeah.
along with the other things they're doing next week.
Okay.
So it's the deer seasons. So the crew is,
It's.
there's a lot of vacation going on, so it's gonna be,
Mhm.
just be patient with scheduling.
Okay, so if we order those, where do you want me to bring those or arrange that?
When you have them, just drop me an email, we'll work it out.
Okay, sounds good. And
As soon as they say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause you definitely wanna be up a week before, just cause it takes that while to do
Right.
that whole
Right,
charge
well,
and all
well,
that stuff.
We'll-
Sure.
we'll-
But also, if they, if they got 2 emergencies come in and the guys are on deer season and it doesn't get done for the Jubilee. Don't be coming back and screaming.
Yeah,
because
we will try.
Get some big letters.
We will try, but it's
Okay.
no guarantee that it'll be up by Jubilee.
okay, I'll try to get, if it's approved, I'll try to get those to you guys.
Yeah.
First Saturday of December.
Open day, muscle load.
So,
I think Jubilee's.
You are right. It is the first.
You can look it up.
either way, it doesn't matter. So we'll do our.
The night's Monday, sorry.
I'll call the question.
It's a Saturday.
Aye.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll call the question.
You did, aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. No,
Yeah.
I was
Yes,
just
it's
out of curiosity for the beautification committee. I was curious what other decorations you guys plan on doing. For,
They'll put up their stars and trumpets and bells.
Lights on the poles or whatever.
Yeah,
last year.
basically the same package as last year.
okay,
Some garland.
all right, sounds good.
For future notice, if you want something like that done, come deer season. You're better off to try and pre-plan before that. because
Okay.
People go on vacations,
Yeah.
they save up their time for you in order to get your stuff.
I didn't plan to take vacation for like a year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just as future notice for next,
Okay,
to try to get ahead.
If it wasn't for the time change, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
we
be
need to
here.
save
I know.
You were confusing me when you were asking me.
I start first of November,
I'm like,
through till the second or third week of December, really.
Hmm,
Yep.
okay.
Got
That might-
myself on December
I
that
wouldn't be
too.
allowed to get pregnant.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate the town or the village crew cutting down some of the trees we were talking about at the. pool.
Yeah.
Looks good. Yep, thank you.
Hey, we work together, right? Okay, next, appointment to Hill as BOJ representative for LCPC board of directors.
Just a quick review about this, when Gigi got done, she was the LCPC representative, I asked her to stay on, she did not want to, so I asked Eric to find somebody.
Well, you asked me to find somebody, but you actually. I did, it's actually, you had a better idea. He's like, Linda's a heck of a volunteer and she probably has time, you ought to ask her, so I was like, okay. And I asked her and she asked what it would entail and what nights it was and. She's like, give me a couple days. And she called me back, she's like, count me in.
To open up discussion, I'll make a motion that we appoint Linda Hill as our representative for the LCPC board.
Do you wanna put time limit on it, or do?
It's an annual thing, isn't it?
No, I think it's until you say otherwise.
I'll do that.
I'll second,
Second, okay, discussion.
Also,
I'd just like to, I should have had you throw this into the stipulation when you asked her, I guess, but just every other month report back to you, or at least give us an update, so we're not surprised, like the planning commission part.
I guess the only question I have, they've been on board, want to take that job.
Well, my only thing is having somebody from the town, not the village, represent the village. That's my only issue.
It's utilities could exceed beyond the village.
This is the
Oh,
planning
the planning commission, sorry. I was-
planning commission,
Yeah.
and. I checked with that with the planning commission, as far as their bylaw is concerned, it is.
Yeah, they probably don't care.
They don't.
Personally.
Right, I'm just saying, I actually checked, to make sure that they, that it was allowable with them, and it is allowable with them. Yeah,
She had been a village resident for a few years lately and has been in the past also. Motion in a second, I guess. Any more discussion, or?
you got one in the head.
You can discuss ways and. So. Did he, he didn't put a date on that, right? So. No, you kind of left it open ended.
No, it's until further notice.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Roll call, Daryl.
Aye.
Well,
Yep.
Chair,
Yes.
Steve,
Aye.
Vice Chair, nay. Okay, passes. Okay, our next is discuss, website.
We get the town's selection was the least expensive that of the ones they showed, they looked at. The whole description of it was in the bigger piece, and I pulled the third to the last page out, because that's got the nuts and bolts, that's got the money part. So first year, this is total for both. First, you'd have a $3,200 startup fee, and then there's an annual $2,620 hosting maintenance support fee. So for the village, that means the first year would be $2,910, and annual be $1,310 to share the website with the town.
What are we currently paying?
What's that?
What are we currently paying?
200 and some odd. Yeah,
200 now, 400 basically for the whole thing.
right,
Whereas
it'd be
like
460 or something like that, mid-4s. So it is what we ended up paying for the one that's. Yeah, we currently have.
So it pays.
And then
7 times.
the only problem with that one though. Is the domain name is townofjohnson.com. If we owned it outright, that would look really kind of silly.
Well, you can sell the website. and
Search
change
optics.
You can,
It would,
Domain name's like $12.
okay,
yeah, it would change anyway because they keep their domain name, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm positive.
probably.
I don't think they're gonna.
So what's the domain name cost?
It's like $12 to Google.
Yeah.
As long as no one else has Village of Johnson.
Marla, since you're here, do you mind if I?
It's somewhere across.
Since you're here, would you mind if I ask you what your opinion on the website?
I really couldn't give you, I haven't had the opportunity to see what was offered.
I mean,
But-
let's say the current website, are you? Think it's a piece of crap, do you think it's okay, do you think it could do better?
No, it's. I don't have a problem.
How often do we update that website that we currently have? Or has it been updated since we've made it? Are there updates we should be doing?
I mean, we update the content on the pages. You know,
Yeah, I mean, we upload
all the time.
our documents to it, it's not hard at all.
So I'll be honest here. So I know they have a lot, the town has a lot of like, groups and all this, so they're looking for a different site to really pull all this stuff in, we're basic, we're like black and white. The one we have now works. This one, we're paying 7 times basically what we're paying now. But what does it offer us as the village to make it worth paying 7 times what we pay now?
I have not. What they were doing.
So,
I think we end up just covering. We end up putting the same information on, but we help them pay for theirs, because they have so many committees,
right.
so.
Because I do like the.
We're not gonna add up, I don't think we're adding anything more than what we would put on, right?
Would basically keep it same, but I do like the idea of an upgrade, I do. If it was more like a percentage base, like we're not using that much. We wouldn't mind helping you guys with this and cover a little bit if we can keep basically the same platform that we're keeping now and maybe pay $300 a year or something like that, you know. That way, just 7x to do the exact same stuff we're doing now. But I would like the idea of an upgrade. I just think it's hard to pay the same thing they're paying.
So when you say upgrade,
Upgrade,
what are we upgrading?
I think they're doing pictures and stuff, right? I don't know.
I mean, the
I
problem
don't
with,
know.
the problem with our website that I see it is you open it up and it looks like that. So you can open up any other website and see that. You gotta come into the 21st century, basically.
But we can change that.
We can't only do so much on that domain because it's all about how the web page is designed. To be able to put a flash and scroll to Masonic Temple, to the school, to the municipal building, stuff like that. I'm not a website builder, but I personally like to see a lot better website. For one, it could bring people to the community, business to the community. I mean, all in all, you're looking at it, it's $325 a year per budget of our budget. And that's to be 50% vested with them. Have a say in what it looks like. We have garage build coming up. We could have a water, we have a general department. Whatever the garage ends up being, water lights, it's the general department, but we could have that old page and have the build of the garage going up on it, showing updates and stuff. Water, sewer, you can instantly do updates on there, you can post the build, what we're doing here. That just gives people a lot different look and more of an interest in the community versus looking at a data page all the way through.
Where'd you get your $325 from?
It's $1,300 a year, divide that by our 4 budgets, it's $325 per budget. A year.
So, and, well, if you did that, then the 200, we were only paying $50.
I understand that.
It's still 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is with website design, if we don't like the design of ours, I don't see why whoever designed ours initially, we just always kept it that way. If we wanna change it up or pictures or have something off to the side for photos of our town garage going up, I'm sure our web designer, whoever's doing it, can just add it. It's just, no one has ever asked them to change it from what we have, so it's just always been stationary.
It's.
It's not like it's outdated where you
It's
can't do
cheap
things like
because you
that.
can't put nothing on it but data.
Well, to the 7 ton
You
thing,
know what I mean? That's the
that's
whole.
using numbers that won't be available anymore. It's actually 3 times what would be available. It's 400 and some odd dollars what we'd have to pay because they'd be out.
Good point.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right, because we'd be paying the full 400.
right.
400, so it's 3 times, but
Yeah.
before going out, I would like to ask our designers, I mean, are they able to do little changes and add pictures and to add a page to it with our building? I mean, if we can save that much money.
But a
and they can do it.
website is costs by what's going on, what's gonna happen. So if you're just implementing data and pages and 2 or 3 photos throughout the thing, the website only costs $400 a year. If you're gonna have a whole different payment. We're gonna be having a new system through AMI. That people might be able to access it through there on our website.
Should be able to.
It's just
It's just a link.
our website's horrible. I agree with them. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
but that's
spend
a-
anymore.
But that's a link, that's
And-
a link that we can put on there.
So,
I'd like to add one more thing. Okay. Right now is the wrong time to do this. If we switch, we're gonna be changing our emails to the Village of Johnson. And we're in the middle of FEMA reconstruction on the sewer plant. And I can't even tell you how many email addresses Eric would have to change and get right and get people to respond back to him. Because they're only gonna forward stuff over for so long. So if you, I don't know if you ever change your email address, I've had emails come up missing for months and months and months and then pop in and find my name and stuff. So
We're just saying now is not a good time.
that is all I'm saying is,
Separate that.
So do it all. just-
besides, I'm looking at the cost and I don't think that's a bad deal.
but I guess my question is that all this stuff you talked about is, pictures of this and that and now the other stuff. That's great if we can do that, but who's gonna do it?
They can, you guys update it all. I know Lydia's updated it twice today for LCPC.
But we haven't been keeping up on our Facebook and all those, so it's kind of the same thing. If we're not keeping up on any of that, why would we?
For one, we just created a Facebook.
Oh, but we haven't done nothing since.
Right, because we created it for just a quick thing to start possibly doing it,
I
but
do have a question, if that's okay. Will the new website have the capability of being able to fill out applications and forms right from the site?
I can't answer
And
that.
that's usually what a lot of the new websites give you the capability of doing, so you don't have to have them download it, fill it out, try to scan it back. Some of them are made so that you can actually fill it out right there. It submits right to the person it needs to go to, as opposed to having them how to download it and then try to sending it back to like how to get it to that person. I'm not sure, because I don't know a whole lot about this new website if they're looking to invest in.
Well, I didn't get this early enough to read through it and figure anything out, so.
So I guess the other question is that, can we counter offer the town? Because we are not using a majority of this new website. If we counter offer them, say we'll do 25% and keep everything, just jump it over. I mean, I'd be a lot more inclined to. I mean, everyone's split 50-50, but I tell you what, I'm also a town taxpayer, so I'm also paying for this website over there.
We do use the website a lot. We have all of our electric tariffs, the metering tariffs, all of our billing inserts on there and forms that we have to post.
But with this upgrade, it's not added anymore. It's nothing more than we can do on our website now. That's pretty
Well,
much what we're dealing with the same stuff.
you might be able to fill out, like I said, it.
Might be able.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know, but you might be able to fill out the electric line extension applications online immediately. and pay for it at the same time, you might need to fill out, new utility applications for customers. You might be able to upload directly to it so that it goes to the billing department.
But that's all my.
It'd be nice if somebody.
We don't know.
And either by Zoom or in person and.
Show how it
Answer our
works.
questions.
Cause even 25%, we're paying more than we're paying now, but it's more manageable than 50-50 split with. They're upgrading it to their needs and we're just like a sub.
And right,
Rosemary, did you have any insight from their meeting on any of the questions?
No, I've watched all their meetings, it just,
Yeah, I think the person that's doing it now is not gonna do it anymore. That's one thing why they're changing.
they have,
She's got a new job, yeah.
they have 15 different boards. With meeting agenda pages.
Yeah, I mean,
We have one.
I'd like to, my thought is counter off them 25%. That takes 25% off their thing, still jacks us up, gets all the web people happy that we're moving along with the town and keeping a better website and stuff like that. I mean, it's just remind them that every village taxpayer is also a town taxpayer and we're all paying for it. So
So they accepted this and was moving forward?
Does that mean if you don't, I'm just.
they're paying the whole thing, whether we say yay or nay.
So we're gonna
But if we say nay, they're paying the whole thing, so I mean, the counter for 25, saying that we're still paying way more as a village taxpayer, because they're getting it from us
So-
anyway.
But just
And we
just
paid
remind everybody, we
60.
haven't looked into it. We don't know if we can just take over that website because they're taking the domain name, so it's gonna be a new website.
You'll have to get a new.
So we'd have to look into seeing if it's even, my guess is that website goes away if they take the domain.
it doesn't.
Oh,
Your website stays, you just switch out your domain name.
true, but
The website
you have to
stays.
pay for that. and
Yeah,
all the-
you have to pay for your.
Change all the email.
We'll change all the email
Yeah,
addresses.
that's what.
I'll make a motion, we counter off.
That's $650.
Well, his motion's still on the floor, right?
I didn't really know.
Need a motion, okay, well, I'll make a motion, we counter offer, we'll do 25%. And roll with the new website with them. That's my motion.
Second.
Per their acceptance.
Yeah, well, that's it, we're counter offering, I wanna do 50-50. I'd like to counter off them 25%, and if they agree to 25%, we roll with it.
Cause that's $650 instead of. So we're still
We're gonna
paying
pay
more,
more
but
for the other one,
being
so, and
part
it's
of
supposed to
it.
be better, so,
Yeah, so we're paying, yeah,
so I'll get a second on it.
I did the second.
I know we get.
Oh, yeah, discussion. Public, nothing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appreciate it.
Nope.
Nay, okay, roll call. Daryl.
No, I didn't say no.
Oh.
I just said I'm not voting. It passed.
Oh, okay. So you wanna. Talk to them on that, please.
Yep.
So.
You don't have that in authority, sorry.
No, I don't think I can do that, and I don't like it, it's great to go.
Okay, thank you, Rosemary.
We can do it in the morning.
Good, are you all-
Friday morning.
You're all done? All done?
Executive session, guys.
Oh,
Oh, are we gonna talk about?
bye-bye.
Oh, yeah, hang on, yep.
Yeah.
How about it, Daryl? I forgot to add it on you.
Right, Daryl's coming.
Oh, yeah, you're sorry, Daryl.
That's fine. I would just like to see if we could get Nate, our esteemed leader, to look into the pricing that we have, that we charge out for all of our equipment,
You're looking for an updated price list.
an updated price list.
I don't think we need a motion for that.
Or consensus, yeah.
Steve?
I'm fine with it. yeah.
You know what I was talking about though, Steve?
I do.
Okay, yeah, I think we should.
So Eric, you get back to us for the next meeting on that?
Yep.
Easy.
Yeah, you just get something on there for us.
You passed that on the name, right?
Oh, yeah, I passed on there, you passed on.
I asked if you passed it on the name, so.
I think it'd be pretty easy though, to see the other towns are.
Okay, a motion to go in executive session, we enter executive session for evaluation of employees allowed by one VSA section 313A3, be just trustees only.
Second. All in favor?
Donna will get you the end of it, and if there's anything else. And.
My buddy does something to me there, like.
What's that?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Buddy sent me a picture about it. Took it away.
That's a hog of a doe. Biggest doe I ever shot, 140 even clear. She's a hog. Yeah. That's big. I had. Hold on. The thing's still listening to us. Hold on a minute here.